What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Last Round Boxing Podcast. You got me, Ruda,
Pablo.
Also, L.
and this is the Last Round Boxing Podcast. We've had to be honest, I think we had an interesting week of boxing. My prediction kind of went out the window. I did not think, we're obviously talking about the Chris Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith, the rematch. I originally thought, I think the question was going into this fight, was it going to be revenge or repeat? And I really thought my boy was going to win. I really thought it was going to be another repeat. I just kind of assumed that the way the first fight ended, I just assumed that Smith was going to be in there a lot more confident this time and whatnot, even though it was an elbow. Other than that, prior to that, I saw Liam kind of controlling the fight, look like the bigger guy, even though theoretically Chris is the bigger guy, as he's fought at a much higher weight class. He still does, I believe. But yeah, I was kind of surprised though. Chris showed us that he still has that dog in him, and he proved once again. I think now I would like to see a trilogy.
Yeah, it was a revenge, man. That sweet revenge. After he won, there's a lot of he's silencing the haters. And I mean, it's true. Just like you said, you're not alone. A lot of people thought that Liam Smith, had it in him to get the KO once again, and it's partly because of Chris Eubank. His career hasn't gone exactly how he's wanted it to, and especially with that last loss, it was a devastating loss to Liam Smith, man, devastating. But he came back, new trainer, Bomac in his corner, and man, he looked amazing. Yeah, he got that stoppage win, got his revenge, and silenced the haters.
Yeah, well, you made the point of a trilogy. Personally, I don't really want to see a trilogy. Especially if I was Eubanks' corner. I mean, it was a pretty dominant performance from him. And for him to get a trilogy, it'd kind of be going backwards at this point because he's already, 32, 33 years old. He's already at that age where, he has to do something. Especially, like you said, his career hasn't gone the way he's wanted it to go. So right now it's, every fight matters. Every choice, every opponent matters. So going against Smith again for a trilogy, I think would be backwards. So he went out. He called out Golovkin, I believe, after the fight. A 41-year-old.
41-year-old. Now everyone wants Golovkin.
Now everyone wants Golovkin. Golovkin hasn't fought since the Canelo fight, so it's about to be almost a year since he last fought. But then again, once you get to that age too, you don't really fight so often. Regardless, Eubank should start looking for bigger fights at that weight class. So I'd rather see a different fight than a trilogy, but. I'm excited to see what he ends up doing or what he chooses to do next.
To be honest, that's kind of crazy that you wouldn't want to see a trilogy. Like I would like to see a trilogy. Like this one, Eubank dominated, but the first one, Liam
knocked him out.
Sure, it was an elbow, but then like before that, he was kind of whipping his ass too, like having him from like corner to corner, ring from ring. Pretty dominant. Both fights were pretty dominant. So I would say even if it's not the immediate like third fight, I would like to see them maybe down the road, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I think it's true. I mean, if Eubank really wants to cement his legacy, he's got to do something drastic because he's been tarnishing his father's legacy and his own legacy because his career, he hasn't really done much of notice at the time he's been in boxing, and he's been in boxing for a very long time now. But I don't know. I think for him, I don't see him doing anything big. Honestly, I don't see him like maybe he could become maybe even a world champion. But like going for something big. I think for him, honestly, man, just like get some more money fights. And I think this fight could be built up a little bit. A trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the public has talked about it, a trilogy fight. I've seen a couple people say it, though, a trilogy, because just like you said, I mean, one fight, it was so one direction. This fight, it was so Chris Eubank direction.
Yeah.
Now it's 1-1 up in the air. Who wins, I think the hype can be played with this fight, and if I was Eubank, I'd probably want a trilogy as well. Because for him, I don't think he's trying to chase after like such a big legacy, like I don't know, undisputed or super world champion or multiple division world champions. You know, I don't think he's gonna be able to do that in his, especially now that he's 33. And I don't think he's at the skill level as well to do that. So I think for him, it's just, you know, make some fights where it's like relevant enough, like another trilogy that could be relevant enough. Not fight like bums or nothing, but fight guys with names, build them up, get some money before he retires, because it's close for him to retire now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If I remember correctly, the first fight between them two, they was at a catch weight, right? And then now, was this rematch? Was it another at a catch weight again, or was it a specific weight? Because I know Chris had to go down a little bit.
I think it was. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, because then it goes by the question like, okay, you beat him, and let's say you don't want to give him the third fight again. You know, who you gonna go? Who you gonna fight now? Like, who are you gonna go up against the big guys? If he's fighting at 168 and he's gonna stay there at 168, Canelo.
Yeah, he's not doing nothing.
David Benavidez.
No.
Caleb Plant. Jose Uzcategui. Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen him, or since we've seen him. So yeah, I think it's kind of what you said. Like, he has to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Good win, impressive win. Got his lick back, but now it's time to actually seriously decide, like, what do I want to do? Yeah, legacy or money. So,
yeah. And maybe some credit to his trainer. You know, he got Bomac in the corner. Yeah, a lot of people definitely noticed that Bomac's in his corner, and Bomac's been on a run recently. Man, he got his main fighter, obviously Terrence Crawford, just got a second undisputed, first in history, and now he took Chris Eubank under his wing, and Chris Eubank looked like a new man. You know, throwing combinations, uppercuts, everything under the sink, and he got the win. So maybe Bomac is the secret formula.
It's because he threw that towel at the weigh-ins. That's the only reason why Bomac. Yeah, that motion.
He got in his head, huh?
He got in his head. He's in the mud. Yeah, no, yeah. Bomac's been on fire. Both of his fighters have gotten two TKOs. Yeah, stoppages late in the fight, but stoppages nothing less. So pretty impressive. It's now you know, if he can, you know, he could maybe start a little stable, you know, Bomac, you know, start building up some fighters, which it'd be like what Derek James was doing, also like Eddie Reynoso,
Robert
Garcia, all these you know, big trainers during their times, you know, maybe it's now Bomac's turn.
Yeah, I think he's getting a lot of respect. I think the boxing world is finally starting to appreciate him and, you know, take notice of his mindset as a coach and how useful he is in the corner. So, good for him, man. You know, and you know, if I was him, I'd definitely do something like that. Maybe start a little academy or something. Yeah. Take some more fighters in, because Terrence Crawford is getting a bit older.
38.
Yeah, so he's 36, I think.
36. Oh.
Yeah. So I don't believe, you know, he maybe a couple more fights left, but then he's gone. Chris Eubank as well is on the older side. So I think for Bomac, you know, get some new fighters, some young, hungry lions, and, you know, be in the corner and just keep on going.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he does have kind of like a stable of fighters that he has, but they're just kind of like on the come up. You know what I'm saying? I think this one is for sure his first. Chris Eubank isn't one of those like popular guys that, you know, like household name or whatever, but he's famous enough. He's been in the game long enough.
Yeah, he has a name.
He has a name for himself. Yeah. So I mean, having for a Bomac to put that underneath his resume, you know, basically he turned a fighter who was probably looking at the back nine, you know, possibly not seeing a future in boxing any much longer. It looked like he rejuvenated him again. So it's interesting to see now. It might possibly be seeing another bigger name fighter that would want to get trained by Bomac. So good for him, yeah. Good for him. Canelo. Yeah, so good for him.
Yeah. But speaking of Eubank, he tweeted out recently. I don't know if it was right before the fight or right after the fight.
I think it was before.
Before the fight?
Yeah.
Before his fight with Liam Smith, of him taking a drug test. Because obviously, you know, these boxers have to take drug tests.
Of course. Mandatory.
Mandatory. And he tweeted out basically dissing like 4 people for being, you know, steroid heads, you know, being cheating outright. He tweeted out saying, a lot of people have been popped with steroids recently, have been putting a bad name or a bad look on the sport of boxing. Thankfully, there's still some clean fighters out there. And he tagged Dillion White, Robert Helenius, Connor Ben, and Alicia Baumgardner, who all have recently been caught taking PEDs.
Yeah.
So, and I think he actually brought up a kind of a good point as well, that recently in boxing, there's been a good amount of people that have been getting caught with steroids.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's noticeable from other fighters because out of those lists, like, I think it's pretty... I'm not going to lie, like, seeing Robert Helenius, Dillion White, I didn't assume that they were on steroids, but Alicia Baumgardner...
Oh, yeah,
if you see those...
before and after
pictures, like, even, like, a year difference, I think she fights at 130. Some of the 130-pound fighters, like, that are men... I believe she has bigger biceps than some of them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's pretty evident. So when that came out, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a tangible difference in her physique, you know, for like before and after. So, you know, she got popped recently, and she's been doing really good. You know, she got did she get undisputed or just a world champ?
She became world champion. She took out Michaela Mayer,
a big prospect or a big name in women boxing. Yeah, champion as well. Yeah, but you know, Dillion White, Connor Ben, all these guys, they've been getting popped.
Well, it's funny that apart from Elisa, her physique, Paulie Malignaggi, who was a 2-time world champion, he commented saying that Connor Ben just a few years ago wasn't punching the way he was punching now. I think ever since when he fought Chris Algieri, just kind of like that power just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, he just like out of nowhere had this power to where he was just sleeping guys. Yeah, you know, just And Paul Muller pointed out, you know, a couple years back, he wasn't doing that. Yeah. You know?
Do you guys believe that, though? Like, I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, his KO ratio is pretty high up there, though.
His KO ratio is high. But I think what Paulie Malignaggi was trying to point out, especially when he said, he mentioned Chris Algieri's name, is Connor Ben's, his competition, his level of competition was going up, and Connor Ben was just still being able to knock them out. He mentioned that Chris Algieri was a durable guy, which is kind of up in the air, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people have knocked out Chris Algieri. Yeah. But he was saying, you know, Chris Algieri, these guys, he's starting to fight better guys, and his KO ratio and his punch was different than what it was back then. Maybe he was TKOing guys back then, but now he's like knocking guys out cold. Because that knockout with Chris Algieri was devastating.
It was it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
I mean, but Algieri is a durable guy. Yeah, I mean he got dropped.
Yeah, that
like
is true.
Six times
against Pacquiao and got up every single time.
Yeah, and then I mean he didn't get. Spence knocked him out, but he didn't sleep him like that.
He didn't sleep him.
It was a good knockout too. He broke him down.
Yeah, he broke him down.
But yeah, the fact that Eubank. I mean, not Eubank. Connor Ben. Eubank. Connor Ben just sparked him out the way he sparked. He sparked him out early on, too, in the fight. Very early on. Yeah, so there's maybe, you know, and then he also got caught because of the eggs. Didn't he point out because of eggs?
Who?
I think Connor Ben. The reason, you know, for the
peds.
Yeah, for the peds.
He said it because he had too much eggs. Or what?
I believe it was something around like eggs.
Come
you know,
on, man.
Yeah, you know how it's all. You know, it was the meat for Canelo. It was the tea for Oscar, and I think it was the eggs for Connor Ben. Yeah, they always have something, but there may be some truth to that. Yeah, because I don't know, Connor Ben. I mean, he hasn't fought since he's been caught. And there's also been talks. He's gonna make a comeback in this later part of the year. So, let's see how he does. You know, if he's still knocking out people, then, you know, maybe his power was true. You know,
yeah, right.
Because Ben spent the whole time claiming he was clean.
Yeah, he did. No, but didn't he start breaking down in a video?
Yeah, he did.
He broke down and he said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but
Radio
Raheem, it was.
Radio Raheem. Baby.
Yeah, Radio Raheem was able to crack down Connor Ben, and Connor Ben started to you know, he broke down. Yeah, started crying. I'm not sure if he admitted. I can't remember. I watched it, but I can't remember if he admitted. He like said, yeah, I did take roids or something, but I mean, he broke down.
I doubt he would have said that, but maybe it's just a bad look that he gave off by breaking down. But regardless, yeah, we'll see. I mean, if Ben keeps on fighting and keeps on knocking out people the way he's been knocking out people, maybe, you know, the power was real. maybe it was real, or maybe if he actually starts to struggle a bit, then we're gonna be able to these next few fights that he gets, they're gonna really tell us a lot about whether or not he was on peds or not. If he was being truthful.
Yeah, the eyes are on him now.
Yeah, I know him. Speaking of peds, do y'all think Logan Paul is on peds?
Yeah, this is a big conversation. A lot of people don't think Logan Paul is natural. Recently, Keemstar
being one of them.
Yeah, Keemstar publicly made an announcement on Twitter, asking Logan, because Logan Paul recently went on the Andrew Schultz podcast,
Yes.
Flagrant, and Andrew Schultz asked him, because this is a big talking point for Logan. I don't think he's ever gonna beat Natty allegations unless he takes a test. Ooh. Because they've been haunting him for a very long time now, and so Andrew Schultz asked him, he's like, "Are you 100% natural?" Logan said, "Yes." "Have you always been natural?" Logan said, "Yeah." And so Keemstar issued a public announcement, public challenge. More is the more
A bet.
Yeah, saying let's do a drug test in the next 48 hours. And if you're 100% natural, then I'll give $100K to a charity of your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and no response from Logan so far.
Well, I think he needs a lot more time for the steroids to get out
of his system, right?
He needs
bad
to
timing for
bad
Yeah, it's a bad timing. Yeah.
So give me a month.
He just pinned, that night when Keemstar literally called him out. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. One thing for sure, though, that Logan does have in him is that he's been kind of athletic, though. I think ever since he's been a child, he's been doing wrestling. I think he did football maybe when he was in high school too, and he's kind of maintained that physique even afterwards, doing Vine and all that stuff, just naturally like that. But now with this whole sports and boxing, and now he's in WWE. I know in WWE, I don't know if it's required, but I think there's some type of requirement that you have to kind of maintain your physique, that what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, those WWE stars are shredded and buff, and
they work out. Yeah.
They work out quite a bit. So I don't know if that's also. I don't know if they have to go through some drug testing in WWE, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if Logan did that in order to kind of maintain himself on the roster and just do his WWE obligations.
Yeah, just like you said, Logan is, since a child, he's always been active, and he does have good genetics. He does work out. We've known he works out a lot. So he's always had a good physique, just like you said, even in Vine and his early YouTube. He's always been a big guy. But I feel like recently he just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, same thing with Jake Paul, honestly. Because Jake Paul, I feel like it's more pronounced in Jake Paul. He used to be kind of smaller and skinnier, and I feel like his body expanded. I feel like his head expanded as well. I don't know, something to think about. But going back to Logan, I just feel like his physique just keeps on developing, and he just stays year round. He stays not only big, right? He's obviously a big guy, but he also stays shredded. Yeah. His abs are always visible. He's always very vascular. His veins are always popping, and that's one of the signs for ped use, because it's difficult to maintain both of those things, being very, very big, holding a lot of mass, as well as being very shredded, being low percent body fat. And one of the things obviously that helps with that is peds. And he's very active in the WWE, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, they don't test for peds, because they don't care. I mean, it doesn't really is. Yeah. I mean, they probably push for it. Honestly, it'll help you perform better in the matches. You know what I'm saying?
Better,
yeah. Well, so you'll look better as well. Yeah. So me personally, I think Logan Paul is on roids, honestly, because just how he's able to maintain his physique year round for so long is just, it's not natural.
You don't think it works out enough?
Oh no, I'm sure he definitely works out.
Yeah.
I'm sure he definitely works out. But to maintain those two things, it's
an extreme thing.
Yeah, it's an extreme thing, especially I just don't see him being natural.
I watched the podcast that he was on with Andrew Schultz in the Flagrant clip, well, the whole thing in its entirety. He also said that for the fight against him and Dillion Danis, there is no Nevada testing. So when I believe Andrew asked him, "Are you worried about Dillion?" He goes, "No, there's no testing or nothing." Probably because I'm probably gonna be on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they asked him because I watched that as well, and Logan Paul said Andrew Schultz asked him because Dillion Danis has been saying let's do drug testing, let's do drug testing.
Olympian style.
Yeah,
Olympian
style drug testing. And Logan was like, okay, I'll do it. And I think this is one of Logan's tactics. He always tries to deflect with humor. He was like, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do Olympic style drug testing if you do a STD test. I was like, STI test, STD test. I was like, come on, Logan. I was like, and then he was like, and let's broadcast the results publicly. I was like, come on, Logan. I don't think he's gonna pop anything, and I think you're gonna pop, to be honest. Yeah, so
They both pop.
you know.
Hey, what if Logan Paul is actually clean and he's just a very hard worker?
I'm sure. No, he's definitely a hard worker. That's one thing. One thing for sure is Logan. No doubt in my mind that Logan Paul works out hard. I'm sure. Actually, but the only thing, he doesn't diet hard. I don't believe he diets hard though. Maybe now he is because he's in training camp.
He has to.
You know, because you know, with the weight limit and
yeah, he also has to cut weight too.
So on,
I'm
yeah.
assuming he's gonna have to cut a good amount of chunk, or
Yeah.
he should have been already. He's probably already on the weight cut process right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely, 100%. But in the past 2 years, you know, that he hasn't been boxing, he's maintained his physique. And I'm not saying he doesn't work out. He definitely works out, obviously, for the WWE. He definitely works out. But just for him to maintain year-round that, like, an amazing physique is just, it raises some red flags, you know?
No, something to think about.
Mm.
Yeah, very something to think about. We may never know. We may never figure out the truth. But you know, speaking of, you know, Logan Paul and Dillion fighting on that card, well, wasn't Dillion Danis on the Adin Ross stream recently?
They did an IRL stream, in real life stream, in New York, and
Another one.
New York City.
Another
and,
giveaway.
Yeah, and in the stream, Dillion Danis, to prove to everyone that he has a photo, you know, because he's been hyping up this photo on Twitter for a very long time. Dillion Danis has been hyping up, saying, I have a photo that can call off the engagement, call off the fight, and send him to jail. So these are some big claims, right? Some very big claims from Dillion Danis. And up to this point, we didn't know if he was, you know, talking shit or if he's actually backing it up and has a photo. So, but on the stream with Adin Ross, Dillion Danis showed him the photo, and based off Adin Ross's reaction, he might have something on his hands, you know?
Yeah, I saw the clip, and based on Adin Ross's reaction, it seemed pretty genuine.
Very genuine.
And that's the key word, genuine. And Adin Ross is someone who is kind of like out there, outlandish, kind of like over the top sometimes.
His fair share of controversy.
Yeah, very controversial, but like he kind of seemed like, yo, he even told Dillion like, yo,
That's too far.
that's too far,
Yeah,
man.
he said it. He said that's too far.
The guy who has done many things, has been, as you said, in controversial things, and has gone over that line, for him to say that, and his reaction seemed pretty genuine. I'm not gonna lie, I believe it, bro. I kind of want to see it.
I believe it too. I ain't gonna lie.
And it still amazes me that like this girl, like Dillion, how many days has it been since Dillion has first released that first picture of Nina?
Non-stop, man.
Non-stop. And it's been every day, and not only that, but it's been multiple times within a day as well.
Multiple times, yeah.
It's been a combination of videos, pictures, even clips that she was on, like I think she was on some MTV show as well back in the day as well. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about it as well is that somehow they just keep on getting worse and worse. Like, it's like he didn't even start out with the worst things he had. He like built it up. It was like, okay, this one's not that bad. This one's not that bad. All right, it's getting a bit questionable to like we're now. I think recently, a couple of days ago, he uploaded a video on Twitter of this girl just flashing her tits out with some old guy right next to him. Like, just so randomly. Like,
Yeah, the thing is, he's you know, the fight is like a little over a month away, and he started doing this back in August, and you know, a couple weeks into it, you know, him just trolling, putting out these pictures, I was like, oh, these are funny, right? But he's bound to run out sometime. I don't know if he has enough content to like keep on going until the day of the fight, because I thought he would already run out, but every single day, like you say, he posts not just one but multiple pictures.
Yeah.
Not even pictures, even videos.
Videos.
And it makes me question, like, does he have enough pictures of her to last until the day of the fight?
Yeah. I would agree with you, honestly. But Dillion Danis just keeps on proving me wrong. Like, he just has so much ammo. And he says he's nowhere near the end.
Yeah, he did.
So, you know what? I'm inclined to believe him.
Yeah, I do believe him. Yeah, especially with that photo and him tweeting that out. I don't know where he's getting this though. Like, it seemed as though they were probably on some. I don't even know some of these pictures even existed. To be honest, I had no idea.
On the internet.
They're out on the internet apparently, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Logan, I don't think I would know who Nina was.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, she seems like your typical school thought. To be honest.
Yeah, I guess she definitely is, because these are all public photos. It's maybe not the one that he has in the vault. Maybe that one is.
Oh, that was private.
Maybe, perhaps, but all these are public photos, and so he's not, just like he said. A lot of people. He went on the Full Send podcast, and they asked him, "Hey, do you think you've gone too far, man? Or do you think you pushed the line, crossed the line?" And he said, "Listen, all of this is public information, public photos on Google, and I'm just posting them without any description. Like, I'm just posting them on Twitter." So he's like, "I don't think I've gone too far. I think I'm just, he thinks he's doing a service to Logan. Showing her, your girl isn't what she's saying she is, man. Because, yeah, that's crazy."
I like how he said it's not just business. Because I would understand if you were... understand in quotation marks, understand that, business to hype the fight or whatever. Now there's a lot of people that they didn't know they were going to fight. Now they're going to fight just because of the pictures. You're like, dang, who is this girl? She's marrying Logan. Oh, Logan's going to fight this guy. Oh, okay, I understand. But for him to say, I'm trying to help you out, bro.
I'm trying to help you out. Like, it's insane, man. It's insane.
Dylan's a wild boy.
Dillion is first of all, he's a great marketer, man. Like, he recently released his analytics. I don't know if he did, but somebody did.
Crazy.
Released his analytics for the past 28 days on Twitter. He got over 2 billion impressions. That's insane. 2 billion impressions. Honestly, he should be the main event. Just him. He should be headlining the Prime card. Because the amount he washed all the other people promoting KSI, Tommy Fury. I feel like that fight isn't even talked about that much anymore. It's mainly just Dillion Danis and Logan. Like, how is this going to affect Logan? Is Dillion crossing the line? All this stuff.
Yeah, I think Dillion Danis is probably, right now, we're living in his world. It's his world, we're just living in it, Yeah, this is, I believe this is probably the best promo for a fight, I think, in any influencer scene, even maybe in not combat sports, maybe, but for sure in the influencer scene, this is by far the best, promotion for an event. Especially an event of this magnitude, because Misfits is really pushing this out to be the best card, so far. And they're hyping it up being this is going to be the best card of the year. It's going to, break up records. We're going to, break pay-per-view records. It's going to break mainstream media,
Yeah.
So what Dillion Danis is doing is essentially doing all the hard work for Misfits,
Absolutely.
Because... people, even casuals, like, who don't even care about boxing or much less care about influencer boxing, know about Dillion Danis because of what he's been doing. They're like, oh, well, what? They're like, Dillion Danis, Logan Paul, they have a fight, and then they see everything that Dillion Danis is doing on Twitter. They're like, oh my god, this is insane. So, yeah, they should really at the end of the day, after the event is over, we're gonna look back at it and be like, man, remember that time when Dillion Danis was going crazy on Twitter for his fight against Logan Paul?
Yeah. Dillion Danis is carrying this promotion for the Prime card on his back relentlessly.
Yeah,
it's insane how much promotion he's just been doing by himself.
I think that's what they call guerrilla marketing, no? That aggressive marketing every day.
Yeah, so like, man, the stuff that it's all original as well. Like, no, like he's it's not like he's teaming up with somebody or doing something. It's just him by himself. He got this idea to target Logan Paul's recently fiance absolutely relentlessly on Twitter, and it's been working. Just like you said, he's brought casuals, people who don't even care about boxing or influencer boxing, to care about this fight. That now people are wondering, how is this gonna play out in the fight? You know what I'm saying?
Because especially like even if it's just casual, like as a man, I understand it's not your wife, but like it's gonna be
your wife
soon
to be
wife to be. It's
Yeah.
your woman. Like, yes, okay, forget all that. You know, that she's her past. Let's just quote unquote. Let's go over that. That's your wife. Some man is talking bad about your wife.
mad shit, bro.
As a man, you gotta do repeatedly, nonstop, and like you're trying to like deflect, and it's obviously it's getting to you, bro. Like it pretty much like you gotta shut him up. You gotta knock him out.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to do something about it, man.
You gotta
Like,
defend yourself.
as a man with testosterone and balls. You gotta go in there and be like, I have to knock this guy out.
Yeah.
Like, so that's another thing. I'm gonna ask you guys this: do you guys think this is getting to Logan Paul's head? Because Andrew Schultz asked him this as well on the Flagrant podcast. He asked him, "Is there any tension?" A lot of people have been asking him, "Is this getting to your head?" This and that. Do you guys think this is getting to Logan Paul's head and it's gonna negatively impact his performance come October 14th?
Yo, I know he said that it wasn't, and I think he even quoted saying that I've had a harder time online with people just not only disrespect but also I think sending him death threats. I think this stemmed from him, as he said, going to Japan and doing that video of him recording some dude who was
His most infamous video.
yeah, deceased. So he got canceled. That was like early internet when we were here, like 2018, like where you hear like people getting canceled over stuff like that. That was pretty like extreme.
Oh yeah, the whole world went after him. The
whole world. And he said I had a harder time so comparing that time to now, he said it was like a breeze. But to be honest, ain't no way. It goes back to the thing like, bro, as a man, now going back to her past, I'm pretty sure that's eating him up. I would even go as far as say that he probably did not know some of these things as well. I'm pretty sure he's just finding it out as the rest of us. Yeah, so I think it's not only is it eating him online, but internally maybe he's questioning like, do I really want to?
He's gonna call off the
wife
engagement.
Dude, he's got to, bro. As a man, he's got to, bro.
As a man, bro,
He's got to, bro.
Where's your pride, Logan? Like, oh my god.
And as a man, like, do you really want to wife someone like that up?
It's embarrassing, man. Because that's going to be on there forever. Just like you said, this is like the era of Dillion Danis. The whole internet is going to remember when Dillion Danis went after your wife. If Logan Paul goes through with this engagement, it's going to be an era in the internet where it's just Dillion Danis getting billions of views shitting on your wife. So it is embarrassing.
Here's the thing. This I could see this fight ends in two ways. First way, Logan Paul wins, right? Dillion Danis essentially gets absolutely ridiculed for all this trolling he did. He gets absolutely destroyed. I think he gets destroyed online if he loses. But if he wins, he becomes the next biggest influencer star.
Dillion Danis?
Easily.
Oh my god.
100%.
He's the king.
100%. He's the king. He'd be cash cow. Yeah, he's essentially he's the man. He's going to be the man. He's going to be up there with Jake Paul, KSI.
Absolutely.
Easily. Not just maybe... if he wins by decision, okay, whatever. If he wins by knockout, even better. But regardless, if he wins, for sure, if Dillion Danis has another fight after this, he's gonna sell.
Oh, definitely.
If he promotes the way he's been promoting for this fight, he's gonna sell. People are going to love him. People love him already. Some hate him. A lot of people hate him, but a lot of people love him. So if he wins against Logan Paul, he essentially becomes the next, superstar for influencer boxing.
Yeah, he changes his brand completely and his image. Now everyone's going to respect him. Everyone's going to be like, hey, not only did he talk the talk, because he's always talked the talk. He's always been a troll, but now he walks the walk. He went in there and knocks out Logan Paul. Oh my gosh, he's going to have the internet in the palm of his hand, man. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Go back to MMA, stick to influencer. whatever he wants to do, you already know his phone is gonna be ringing.
He's essentially gonna be like the McGregor
Yeah.
in the influencer scene.
He's gonna be McGregor, man. Yeah, literally.
I was gonna say he's gonna be filling up, stepping into those shoes that apparently when he was up and coming as a Bellator MMA fighter, people were, because he was training underneath Connor. The people were saying that he's gonna be the next Connor just because he's training with him, sparring him, kind of learning his techniques. I think now, yeah, essentially that would be kind of what it'd be. It'd be like a 360, like all back again, like Connor back in 2016, talked his shit, and then he backed it up. Talking shit, back it up, talking shit, back it up. And if you were to do that against Logan, oh yeah, most def.
Oh my god.
The world would probably be his oyster.
Definitely, man. He'd be the king. So I'm praying that happens, man. I want Dillion Danis to win so bad, man. I can't wait.
I'm gonna ask you a question because both of you guys, because I'm actually pretty interested. Who do you think is gonna win between them two? Like, or who do you guys want to win? Because to be honest, like, I really don't care who wins. I'm in this for the fun. It's really exciting to me. However, which way it goes. Like, if Dillion wins, then dang, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna be like Conor McGregor Jr. a little bit, and sucks to suck. You know, Logan. I don't really have anything against Logan, but it'd be kind of interesting. Like, this man basically humiliated you online, outside the ring, and then inside the ring. But if Logan is able to like get his lick and shut him up, then the whole internet, or at least for me, I've always said that Dillion Danis has kind of been an internet troll, so that would kind of reassured my position on that. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Cause
I'm sure you guys already know my stance on this, man. I mean, I literally just said it. I'm praying Dillion Danis wins. Just like you said, I'm in it mostly for the fun of it. You know, this influencer boxing is fun to me. You know, it's fun seeing these like mini celebrities. You know, these guys, these YouTubers, all these guys get into the boxing ring and like fight, because obviously we love boxing, and I just like seeing that. It's a fun thing. It's entertaining. So for me, I'm looking at it in the lenses: what would be more entertaining or more fun, if Logan Paul wins or if Dillion Danis wins? And I think I speak for everyone when I say I think Dillion Danis would have a blast. The internet would go crazy. It'd break the internet if he knocks out Logan Paul. So I want that to happen. I want Dillion Danis. I want him to go in there with the fire in his eyes. I want Logan to shrivel up and be like, oh my gosh. And then, boom, Dillion Danis lands a right hand and knocks him out. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, for this fight, like it's really fun seeing this whole thing play out. But if I were to choose, I would probably want Dillion Danis to win, mainly because if Logan here's the thing. I want Dillion Danis to win because there's a higher chance of him continuing fighting if he wins, rather than Logan continuing fighting if he wins, because I feel Logan Paul isn't really that dedicated to boxing. He fought, against KSI, and then he took, he was, he didn't really start, but he's the one who helped elevate it to the level it is. But, he fought Mayweather, and then he took, another hiatus. He's not really very consistent with the boxing. So, I mean, if he wins, he wins, but I don't see him, consistently fighting. Unlike Dillion Danis, who I know if he wins, he's going to want to keep on fighting because, well, that's his whole fan base now.
Yeah.
He's essentially winning the influencer fan base. He'd not only win, but he'd get more fights on Misfits, more money for him. This is essentially his job, while Logan Paul has different avenues of revenue. He has the whole Prime, he has WWE, he has YouTube, his podcast. He has all these different things that he doesn't need boxing. And, well, Dillion Danis, he's building off his whole fan base from combat sports. So I'd rather see Dillion Danis because there's just there's a higher chance of him continuing fighting than Logan.
Yeah, that's true. Like, as you're looking at it from the lens of, like, to continue influencer boxing, I think that's true because Logan Paul, he's always in and out of it. He's always talking about, I wanted to make my return. Finally, he's making his return. But it's been years, just like you said, it's been years. So, and I think you're right. If he wins, he's probably going to be like, I'm going to fight again. But then a year passes, 2 years passes, So, and another thing, with Dillion Danis as well, he's making a lot of money off this fight, man. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with the paycheck. And in his mind, he's probably going to be thinking, why am I going to go back to MMA and fighting these real opponents, these real guys that are actually, can beat me for a fraction of the paycheck? then I can be fighting these influencer guys with like a 90% chance of me winning, and I get 10x the money.
Yes.
If I was him, I'd stay, just like you said, I'd stay in the influencer boxing, fighting these YouTubers for 10x the money, then going back to MMA.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't even sit down and kind of like think about that. But long term wise, like for the influencer boxing, Dillion Danis would be the better candidate. Yeah, because as you said, at least the way I see it, Logan has kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out in the whole boxing, and I don't blame him. You know, he's got Prime, he's got WWE, and then other obligations that that I don't really know, but he probably has other things. Like he's pretty much a working man. He works nonstop in different things. So yeah, I think I would rather. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Dillion Danis winning.
Yeah. Also, because Dillion Danis winning, it keeps influencer boxing alive. It opens up more avenues, and there's these smaller influencer fighters who want to break into the scene, right? But in order for influencer boxing to continue, you need to have those top guys in there. KSI already mentioned he's 2 more fights maybe, and then he's done.
Exactly.
Logan Paul, like I said, if he wins, he's probably not going to be fighting like that much often either way. All these top guys at influencer boxing, they're kind of like already kind of want to get out of the sport, and influencer boxing needs those guys in order to keep on going, in order to sell these events, because, like Misfits, every time they have a KSI card, it's always packed out. Mm-hmm. It's always packed. He always sells out. While when they try doing like, JMX headlining or all these other other fighters, they don't really sell out. They're not as successful as when they have these big names selling out. So Dillion Danis winning essentially keeps influencer boxing alive, or opens up a new door, a new area where they can, keep on expanding and keep on building for the long term.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Yeah. Speaking of the Prime card, hopefully, this is all happening on the Prime card. October 14th, we got a double main event. Which should be one main event, Dillion Danis and Logan. But KSI and Tommy Fury, and one fight that we aren't going to be able to get is a Deji fight in the Prime card. There was some rumors of him being on the Prime card, and that would have been amazing. That would have elevated the Prime card obviously to be even more popular. Especially Deji has a very big fan base. A lot of people ride with him, and as well him being his KSI's brother, so they get the Olatunji brothers on the same card as well. Another cool thing. We haven't seen that since
the first one.
Yeah, the first or second one with when Deji fought Jake Paul and KSI fought Logan Paul for the first time. So it's been years. That would have been a cool callback.
Also in the temper in KSI.
Oh, they fight on the same card?
Oh yeah, he did.
Warm, didn't he? Oh no, I think that was a different one.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but we didn't get it. We didn't get that. Nothing's been confirmed. And there's rumors, though, that supposedly Deji was supposed to be on the Prime card, and he was supposed to fight Windersson Nunes.
Yeah, that would have been a delicious fight, bro. Like, just considering, sort of both of them, like, their trajectories and stuff like that. Deji kind of being on a winning streak, and Windersson kind of popped out of nowhere, but he's got a huge fan base, just like Deji, that ride with him as well. Like that, when I first saw him fight on the Kingpin tournament, like, he had the crowd, like, through the roof. Like, it just seemed like it was an icon, like a boxing icon. Like, I was genuinely surprised.
A superstar.
Yes.
Honestly. So it was crazy, yeah. And that would have been cool, tap in with the Windersson Nunes Brazilian. They would have tapped in with the Brazilians, you know what I'm saying? They would have bought the pay-per-view as well, been more inclined to watch it. But we didn't get it. The fight fell through. Or supposedly Deji wasn't ready for October. Which I don't really understand, but
yeah, because Deji, his last fight was against Swarms, wasn't it? I believe it was against Swarms. That was back in the spring.
Yeah. So
he's had this whole entire summer. He's essentially having the fall also. Which goes to my point that we've talked about before. Deji is not fully dedicated like that for boxing, and he's already said it, like we mentioned too.
It, yeah.
He's also like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. When
couple more fights,
and he's out. He's another one of those big names that wants to leave too. He's not. he's not really that, about it, So it kind of shows you with this fight. Like, if he was about it, he would have been ready for this fight. Like Salt Poppy, for example.
Salt Poppy's ready.
Salt Poppy's ready. He only lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
He's looking good, man. In 2 months, he's looking good for this fight, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's fighting on the prime card. Opponent still not...
To be announced.
Yeah, still not to be real. Hopefully, it's King Kenny.
Hopefully. Oh, my gosh.
Hopefully, it's King Kenny.
Sheesh, that'd be a good fight.
I'd rather see that than anything. But regardless, Deji should be fighting in this card, but that's not how it goes.
If that is true, Deji kind of has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or like I got X amount of fights in me left. Like, bro, why don't you fight Windersson, bro? Like, can you imagine the amount of like eyes? Like, Deji could be making a lot more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would make a lot more sense. Like, if you're trying to like cash out, or you're thinking X amount of fights, but I want to get X amount of money, like, that would have been the thing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially on that card. It's huge. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have been the best thing to do, especially considering the fact that you're on a winning streak. You haven't fought in a while. This would have been perfect.
Yeah, also, I mean, the whole Kingpin is in the mud, the whole tournament. And so Winderson's free.
Yeah.
He's free. All these fighters who were supposed to fight, Windersson, Jarvis, Kenny, and Gibb, they're all free now. So, I mean, and Winderson's coming off a very bad loss.
Very bad.
Humiliating loss, very dominant loss he took against Kenny. So, if anything, this should...
perfect time.
Perfect opponent pick, in my opinion. Perfect opponent for Deji.
Yeah.
And that's typically the perfect opponent that Deji likes. Guys who don't have a really good winning streak as well. Like Swarms. Like Swarms, I think he had lost against KSI in his previous fight.
Swarms, Fuzi
as well. So, like, that would have made perfect sense for Deji as Winderson's next opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
He's scared then, huh?
Maybe Deji thought Windersson was too tough for him, man. Because, like Deji's been saying, man, like, he's this new fighter now. And, he's back and better, finally, for the third time. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to step up. All right, let's step up then. You know what I'm saying? Windersson Nunes, this is not even that big of a step up to
Not a big step up, yep.
Because, he lost his last fight very, very, very badly. And, humiliating. So, it's a perfect opponent. He has a big name, Windersson Nunes, massive name. Mm-hmm. And he's coming off a loss. Perfect for you, Deji. But maybe in his mind, Deji's like, oh, maybe I can lose this fight. Maybe it's too risky. Oh, I'm not going to fight him.
That's crazy. That means Deji's ducking then. Yeah. Or like, what else is he trying to look for, bro? Yeah, I don't see anyone else. Like, who else could he fight?
Jake Paul.
Like, he was talking about Bryce Hall, and now that Bryce Hall actually won in his debut.
Now he hasn't said anything, right?
He has not said anything.
He hasn't said anything.
Kept his mouth out of his... Kept that name out of his mouth.
You already know he wanted Bryce Hall to get knocked out in there. He was not expecting him to win.
If Bryce Hall would have got knocked out, he would have been like, oh, yeah, give me Bryce Hall next.
Now, I'm ready for the prime card. I'm ready. No, now he's not ready.
Now he's not
ready. Oh, now.
How convenient, huh?
Yeah, how convenient, man. Yeah. How convenient.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit. What do you guys think about our boy Errol Spence reactivating his rematch clause? Mm-hmm. Big fish coming back to get his lick back. Man, to be honest, like, I do want to see that fight again. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a little early. If I'm gonna be honest, I think it's best if Errol Spence maybe takes a minimum at least one fight, to kind of like get his rhythm back, get his confidence back, and then try to run it back. But I don't know how it is in the negotiations in the contract. I don't know if it's like it's either immediate within the next deadline, 60 days, 90 days, or whatever, or we moving on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, it looks like we might see that fight. I don't know if at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year, early next year. But, hopefully it's at 154. Crawford is saying that he really wants to go against the undisputed, the face of boxing, Canelo. So if he does want to go and become a 3-time undisputed, like, it would make sense for him to fight Earl at 154. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, first, regardless of the weight, I like Errol Spence. I respect the dog in him. The man takes no he takes no what's it called? Fucking, he takes no tune-up. Every even after his car crash, he came back and fought Danny Garcia. And then he takes he goes in low-key a little bit in inactivity, and then comes back and fights all these champions. He never really takes a tune-up, so I gotta respect that, especially now, especially after the beating he took from Crawford. He's still willing to fight him next. But first off, I don't believe he beats Crawford. I think Crawford, the weight could make a difference. It could help him. He could be more geared up for the rematch, but skills, man. Crawford really showed that he just had more in his arsenal. He higher IQ, just a better fighter overall than Errol Spence. So regardless of the weight, the rematch would be cool. If I was Showtime, I'd low-key be a little upset about it because it's not going to be as successful as the first one. How dominant the first one was, people are going to be like, oh, it's going to be why would I'm not interested in watching the rematch. But I don't think Errol Spence has it in the bag to beat Crawford anymore. Honestly, I think he met his match or his Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I think to say that Errol Spence doesn't have a chance, I think he still has a chance. Yeah, especially at new weight class 154. Not if he's gonna win or not, that's more up in the air. But I think he still has a chance to win. So I don't count him out completely. Hopefully, this rematch happens. I'd say it happens probably early next year. Springtime, maybe sometime there. But hopefully Errol Spence comes back better than ever and at a new weight class. Hopefully Terrence Crawford gives him the new weight class, man. Because hopefully. And I think what you said, I think that's actually it's a good point as well. If Crawford has dreams, which he says he does, if he has dreams of going up to 168 to fight Canelo, it'd be a good idea to go up to 154 and fight there.
Yes, acclimate that body.
I think that'd be very smart. So I think it would be, and also it'd give him a harder fight as well. Errol Spence would feel better. The weight cut wouldn't kill him. So I think it'd be a smart thing to do for Crawford to, especially I'm sure he's 100% confident in his ability to win again, no matter the weight class. So I think it'd be a good option for him to grant Errol Spence the fight at 154 for a tougher fight and to get his body acclimated to higher weight classes. So yeah. But if I were to bet my money on, I would bet it on Crawford even at 154. But I wouldn't count Spence out. To be honest, I still wouldn't count him out. I'm still with the big fish, man.
The big fish.
I'm a big fish at heart, man. Oh man.
And that's another thing. Like one thing that we are for certain, as boxing fans, we know what's in the contract is the winner. Yeah, the rematch. It's activated, but the winner gets to decide and pick the weight. So I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford decides to be like, yeah, I'll give you the rematch, but it's gonna be at 147. Like take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So I mean. I think he's done enough publicity. I think people know him a lot more now. I think he's more of a household name that even if he does fight Errol Spence at 147 and beats him again, I think he will beat him again even worse at 147 if that were to happen. He can just go and call out Canelo again as well. I think his name has grown, his brand has grown. That I think it's possible. I think if the money is right, undisputed against undisputed. This guy Crawford being a 2-time in 2 different weight classes, Canelo being 1, but essentially the face of boxing, that would break pay-per-view numbers. So I think if Crawford wants to take the cautious side, I wouldn't say safe, but cautious, rematch at 147 and then call out Canelo at 168 and being like riding off into the sunset with his millions and millions of dollars in the bank. No.
Yeah, well, you got to tip your hat off to Spence nonetheless, man. For him to just get his ass beat like that in his last fight against Crawford and then to, reactivate the rematch clause, it takes a lot of balls, and he's a warrior, big fish. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes for him because, you can't count him out, but it's hard to see another it's hard to see another outcome than the outcome that we saw in their last fight.
That's true. And the thing that kind of like, although you could make the argument that, Errol Spence, he looked a little drained at 147. He stayed too long at 147. At 154, it's possible that he might have enough energy. But I didn't really see Derek James giving him any instructions and how to, like, make adjustments or what like that. It just kind of like, he kind of looked lost as well, So I don't know. Derek James would also have to bring something new if the fight is 154 as well. A new game plan, something else. But yeah, other than that, like you said before, my heart is with Errol Spence as a Texan, but my money's on Bud Crawford. Yeah. Ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah, but but recently, switching gears a little bit. Recently, Demetrious Johnson, who is one of the GOATs in the UFC, and in the MMA community in general, one of the GOATs ever, has went viral recently for saying that MMA is the easiest combat sports to become a world champion in. And basically saying, he said for boxing, he also mentioned kickboxing, but we're boxing, so we're going to stick to boxing for now. He said, for boxing, you're going to fight other boxers who are good at boxing, but for MMA, you're going to fight guys who are great wrestlers, but they suck at striking. His argument was, in MMA, you can become a world champion while having a lot of holes in your arsenal, and for boxing, you can't have a lot of holes in your arsenal if you're going to be one of the best in your division, right? And I think he brought up a very good point, and it did not go over well for the MMA community. Let's leave it at that. A lot of people were not happy, but I think he's right, and I think a lot of people didn't really understand what he was saying, and I think they're trying to come back. Oh, but MMA has so much. You have to know this and this. You have to know striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. This and that. His argument was, you don't have to. Yes, MMA encompasses a lot of martial arts disciplines. Yes, that's true. It encompasses a lot more martial arts discipline than boxing. No one's arguing that. But you do not have to be a world champion at all of those martial art disciplines to become a world champion in MMA. You can be, just like he said, you could be he brought up a perfect example. Someone like Brock Lesnar. He was a world champion in heavyweights. He had really good wrestling, but guess what? He didn't have zero striking. He had a very big hole in his game, but he was still able to become a world champion in MMA. And it's like, how? Like, he has such a big hole, but just his one martial arts discipline, wrestling, was able to catapult him to the very top of the division. How does that work? That makes no sense. For boxing, you can't have that. Now, you can't have that for boxing. And yeah, boxing, it's true. Boxing is harder to become a world champion in.
Well, it's like, that's why I say boxing's a game of chess. They're playing the same game, but it's all about the move that you make, how smart you are. That's essentially what boxing is. But I mean, do you think you can make the argument for MMA by saying that the fact that there's so many different styles or so many different just fighting techniques and whatever in MMA, it makes the fighter be more aware, or it's like how could I put it? Like, they have to be more careful of these different styles than in boxing. Because in boxing, you're just going to box someone. But in MMA, you got to, keep in consideration all these different styles that, they could bring to the table. Do you think that's an argument for maybe being in the MMA is harder?
There's definitely a lot more... your opponent can pose a lot more arsenal, right? They just like there's so much martial arts that encompass MMA, right? So, he could throw an elbow at you. He could throw a kick. He could be more kickboxer. He could be a wrestler. He could be just like a regular boxer. There's a grappler. You know, there's a lot of different stuff. But you don't have to be. This is the thing. You don't have to be elite level at everything.
That's key.
That's the key. You don't have to be an elite at everything. Whereas in boxing, you kind of have to be an elite at everything because you're going to be fighting other elites. So that was his only point. His only point is you can have so many holes in MMA. You see it all the time. Look at Alex Pereira, man. He just became not anymore. Not anymore. He just lost. But
in 6 fights though, right?
In
7
fights. 7 fights. I think he was 6-1. He became a world champion. This guy has zero wrestling game. Like he was getting out wrestled by Israel Adesanya, who is not a wrestler. Yeah. He was getting out wrestled. This guy has zero wrestling game, but he was able to become a world champion. That's insane. He was become the best of the best.
And that's another thing too with when it goes back to like other people that I can think of, other fighters within the, I'm gonna go specifically UFC, like Ronda Rousey when she fought a boxer who just really had excelled, I want to say elite, but excelled in boxing, or just had a much more boxing experience or better boxing abilities than Ronda Rousey. She got cooked. You know what I'm saying? And Ronda Rousey.
Ooh, you talking about Holly Holmes?
Yeah, I'm mentioning Holly Holmes. That's what I'm trying to say. Holly Holmes beat her. Another one that you mentioned, Cain Velasquez, when he beat Brock Lesnar as well. Like, Brock Lesnar was good at one thing, and then Cain Velasquez dominated him with his just sheer aggressiveness and then his striking abilities. And I would even say Brock Lesnar was that good, and he also didn't have that many fights in the UFC, and he became world champion. Yeah. I would say if you want to be a fighter and are choosing, you're trying to pick what combat sport I want to be in, you can definitely get far or exceed if you do mixed martial arts than, let's say, boxing or kickboxing, stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll be much more successful. And one of this is another thing that I saw. A lot of people were saying that. A lot of people mentioned like people like Deontay Wilder or something. Were like, oh, you can have but if you have power, you know, it can negate it and you could be the best, this and that. First things first. Okay, let's talk about Deontay Wilder. First things first. He's a bronze Olympic medalist, so don't sleep on his skills. That's number one. He's a bronze medalist. He has an extensive amateur career. He knows what he's doing in the boxing ring. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, even if you don't accept that, even if you say, oh, he has zero skills, zero boxing ability, he just has great power. Okay, I agree with you. He was blessed with the touch of death, where he can just knock out everybody and negate the skill level. You know, he's fought people that are probably more skilled than him, like Luis Ortiz, but he was able to win because of his power. Okay, I agree with you. But what you're raising up is one exception to the rule. Yes, in this really, really crazy circumstance where a fighter literally has like the right hand that can just KO everybody. In this crazy circumstance, yes, he can negate the skills and still be a top guy, world champion. Yes. But the exception does not disprove the rule. For the majority of boxers, they don't have KO power like Deontay Wilder. So they have to rely on other skills, other aspects of boxing, whether head movement, range finding, jabs, right hands, combinations, everything else. You know, so if you raise Deontay Wilder, fine, that's cool. But he's one exception. In general, in boxing, not everyone has KO punching like Deontay Wilder. So you can't raise the argument that Deontay Wilder was able to do it. Yes, he is the exception. He was blessed.
Yeah. And that's funny because what's his name again? Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, Mighty Mouse, Demetrious Johnson.
Yeah, does he still compete? Or I don't really know much about him.
I'm not sure if he still does. He doesn't compete in the UFC anymore.
Oh.
The last he competed was in if I remember correctly, in an MMA organization called One. Just okay. One, W-O-N.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, and it's a smaller one. It's like a Bellator
one.
type.
Yeah. That's where he competed because they traded him off for Brent Askren.
Damn.
Literally, yeah. I'm not even joking. This is actually true. So, but yeah, it was bad.
What was his background like then?
Mighty Mouse?
Yes.
His background? What do you mean? Like in
Like fighting wise, like
Mixed-
the reason why he was in mixed martial arts. Like, did he have anything else? Like, well, was he like
Wrestler?
wrestler,
Oh.
boxer, Muay
I'm not
Thai?
sure. But he does it all. Like I'm saying, he's one of the MMA goats. Where
Oh.
like he's really good. He's a stand-up guy. He's really good at striking. He has some of the best like knockout sequences like in all of the UFC. One that immediately comes to my head is where he hurts some guy and the guy's going backwards. And Mighty Mouse literally jumps up and hits him with a flying knee and just KOs him. It's literally beautiful.
Oh wow.
But there's also other ones where like he's also an amazing wrestler, where he's able to like another big highlight of his career. This was in the UFC, was where he had the guy's back. He suplexes him, and then in midair he literally transitions into an armbar and submits the guy via an armbar. It's literally insane. Like this guy's the real deal in the MMA community. And for him to say this should really say something. Like people are like just completely dismissed his thing. Like they should really consider it like what he's saying and like try to understand it, you know?
Yeah, and I think this whole debate of like UFC fighter or MMA fighter against a boxer who will win. Well, I think it's pretty obvious the boxer would win then. Yeah. So he kind of just ends the argument there, and him being a MMA fighter as well. Yeah. So shut case and close. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Next topic. Let's end it with the question.
Yeah, question. So I wanted to see what you guys would think of this, or your thoughts, or what you guys would choose. But would you guys, it's a little fun question, but would you guys rather be back to boxing first of all? Would you guys rather be undisputed in a weight class, or become a 4-weight division champion? If you had to choose between one, what would you guys choose? Go, Asel.
If I had a pick between them, I'd say I'd probably be undisputed out at a world champion at a single weight class. Mainly the first thing being was especially now, like the way boxing is, how many championships there are. There's literally 4 of them. So like you gotta literally take it from every single guy. Like you're pretty much a 4-division world champion right there.
And in some boxing sanctions, there's almost like like the regular, the super.
Yeah.
It's like, bro.
So like maybe if it was more like an MMA where like there's only one belt, I'd probably be a 4-division because that'd be cooler. Because if you're the champion, then you're pretty much undisputed.
Yeah.
But because there are 4 belts, 4 major organ, 4 belts, every weight division, I would say I'd rather be an undisputed because there's also less undisputed champions than there are 4-division world champions.
It's more rare.
It's more rare, yeah. So it's more of an accomplishment, and it's also just based off the fact that there's so many world titles that you pretty much like a multiple time world champion,
Yeah, that's true. There are less undisputed champions ever since the 4-belt era, which happened not too long ago. Before there was only 1, and then they had another, and then I think at one point there was only just 3, and then the WBO, if I'm not mistaken, was the last one to be considered the 4 majoring sanctioning bodies for boxing. But also there's not a lot of fighters who are 4 division world champions as well. It's also kind of rare. You see 1 or 2, and then it's like 3 or 4. Then sometimes fighters, they can't with the weight, or their opponents are just maybe too bigger than them or whatever. That's actually a good accomplishment as well. Not a lot of fighters have, or it's still rare to see that 4-time division, 5-time division. I would like to do probably 4 if I had to choose 4 different weight classes. Yeah, that's still history right there. What about you?
Like the thing is, when you're undisputed, you can be like, I'm him,
You literally say that, yeah.
You'd be like, I'm him, I'm the man in the division. But honestly, if I had to choose, I'd probably be a 4-weight division champion. I think
Blood started talking about I'm him, and then chose
No,
the
I'm-
other one. Like what?
Pros and cons.
Yeah, like
Well,
what?
no, it's because I'm just saying, like, if I was undisputed, I'd be like, I'm him. But at the same time, a 4-weight division, like, you're climbing up weight classes that you typically don't really belong in, and you're fighting champions in their own turf. You're fighting them at their own weight, and you're taking the belt from them. So, for you to climb up the weight and then still be champion, it really says a lot about, it's not about the weight, it's about, the skills, it's about the fighter, you're much more than just what your weight says, you're a very skilled, high level fighter, an elite at that point. And, if you're like a multiple weight division champion, that's also a good, resume. Not only that, because you're fighting these champions, but also you'd be more inclined to be higher in a pound for pound list, in my opinion. If you jump up in divisions and undisputed, even though undisputed, you'd be beating the guys at your own weight, all the champions. But something about beating guys heavier than you, and taking their belts away, and I think there's something about that. I should it's like a real achievement. Like, damn, like I did this, my weight, it didn't matter. I went up all these 4 weight classes, and now still, able to become champion in them. That's a big accomplishment. So I'd probably choose to be a 4-time or a 4-weight division champion than undisputed.
Well, I'd brag to you guys and say that I'm him.
At that one weight.
Yeah, I'm him, nigga.
Triple G. Yeah. Which is still amazing though. Like if you're an undisputed, that means you also sacrifice your body to stay at that weight in order to beat all the other guys. Whether they're all in the same boxing promotion or different promotions. That speaks a lot as well.
Yeah,
speaks a lot. But yeah, let us know, what do you guys think in the comments below or in our Discord. What would you like to be? Undisputed? Would you like to be him or be a champion in 4 different weight classes? Until then, it's been your boy Rudo.
Pablo.
Also,
And this has been the last round. Bye.